Hello, stream. Welcome to a surprise Thursday stream. I decided to do an extra stream today so that I could get a little bit more work done on Celica. And yeah, pretty much just starting up exactly where I left off yesterday. I have not done any off-camera work this time. So we can just continue from the same spot. And I'll wait just a second to make sure everything's up and running. Meanwhile, Gilbouche has followed, and so has Gallifrey, or Gallifra, which is Gallifrey, yeah. Thank you so much for following. And welcome to today's leather stream. Hero of Time, thank you for the follow as well. How do we got this? So this is how we're doing this. Okay. I've got my pattern pieces lined up with my other two foam pieces, and I decided that I am going to go ahead and put together this other boob cup, basically, just to make sure that I have an accurate representation of how wide this is going to be. I talked about this a little bit last time, but one of the things I want to do with this mock-up is make this frame piece wider and cover a little bit more of the sides. So I'm going to be making some changes to my pattern today, and then hopefully doing another mock-up that I'll like more, ideally. Welcome to the chat room, guys. We've got some matcha tea if anyone's wondering what this like green concoction is. It's very tasty green tea. Mr. Monakai has followed. Thank you so much. Welcome. So anyway, since this is the second boob cup and we've already done one, I want to make sure that I am assembling it in the right direction because these need to be mirrored images. Oops, and this wasn't even lined up right. These need to be positioned like this, actually. So just taking a look at my other cup to make sure they're lining up. This piece is a mirrored image of that one, and then vice versa with the other guys. So I think I'm going to assemble them separately and then put them together at the center seam. And I'm just going to be using staples to do this. Unfortunately, I did not find more staples. I thought for sure that I had more in my house, but I couldn't find them today and I didn't bother going to the store. So yeah, I have a very, very limited amount of staples that I can use for this right now. So we're going to do our best to be sparing with those, let's say. It lines up about there in the middle, and I can use some tape to try to hold that in position. Sorry, the other thing I need for this is my heat gun, which is going to help us shape the foam and make it malleable. How's it going, guys? Thank you all for showing up to a surprise stream. Well, sort of surprising. I guess I announced it last night. Oh, and I have to get my music going. Forgot about that. We're going to be listening to that same chiptune playlist that I really enjoyed. I might have to restart this window, though. Refresh it. Cool. So that is running now. Let me know how the audio is doing. I'm still figuring out what the ideal settings are. So please let me know if it's like too loud or too soft and I can make adjustments. Yeah. So I am going to go ahead and get started with this by putting a staple in these guys. So what the staple is doing is just approximating stitches. There we are. I could spend more time doing some stitches in these foam pieces, but this is still a mock-up. It's not, you know, going to be the final piece of armor. For Narc 94 has followed, as well as Piece of Vi. Thank you guys so much. Oops, I'm dropping things over here. So doing that, like the stitches in the real way, would take quite a bit of time, and I don't want to do that because I really want to just keep moving along with this project. So instead of that, I'm just going to use staples. As long as the pieces are held together along this seam, I'm going to be able to use it to guess how the leather is going to behave. That's really what it's here for. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up and make it a little bit more malleable. I've got Miss Titties here ready to be molded over. And we'll have another titty armor stream. Alright, I did turn the music down a little bit. Oh. I turned the music down just a little bit just now, so let me know how that is. I just got a comment saying it's a little too loud still, so. Blue Monkey Devil, thanks for showing up for your work. It's awesome that you got to make it here. And so I'm just holding this in place right over the boob as it cools down. Because really when it cools is when it becomes, like when it starts to take on that shape. You can move it when it's hot, but if you take it off of the form, it's going to relax. So it's a good idea to like allow it to cool in position until you are ready. Once it cools down, you're ready to remove it from the whatever you're molding it over. I'm gonna move this over to the edge. Sorry if it's hard to see, but I just need to make sure these are really close together. I really wish I had an extra set of hands, but this is just all I can do for right now. Cool, that's good enough for now. And now I'm gonna go ahead and continue heating from the back side. Blue Monkey Devil is asking, is this the mock-up again? Yes, it is. As the title of the stream suggests, this final piece of the costume is going to be made out of leather. Right now, I'm making it out of foam so that I can test my pattern and make sure it's going to be the right size and fit me in the way that I want. And so yeah, foam is cheap and leather is expensive, and so I just want to like check my work before I commit to cutting out pieces of the higher quality material. So it's extra steps, but it saves time and work in the long run because you're confident in what you're doing and then you're not like trying to correct mistakes on your final piece. Let's see, VGE Elucidator. VG Elucidator, like the sword, right. I've never seen a Twitch stream that wasn't a game. I also don't Twitch very often. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for showing up to your first creative stream with us here today. I like to make costumes, and I usually stream twice a week, but this is my extra stream of just trying to get more work done. Oh, that's fine, you guys. I'm just chatting with you guys. Thanks for being here in the chat today. Oh man, this is a good song. This is the Mario 64 water music, right? This is one of my favorite games as a child. One of the first games, actually probably the first game I played was this game. Dire Docs. Yeah, that's one of the names of the worlds. I don't know if it's the name of the song or not, but that would make sense. Alright, cool. So this other one is starting to come together. I think I actually did a better job on it. I was a little bit more patient, but they're both gonna work for our purposes here today. So how am I doing on staples? Okay, I actually still have a little bit, so I can at least put these pieces together. And once again, I'm gonna use a piece of this tape. I've just got like a wad of tape over here that I've like already torn small pieces apart, and they're all just like stacked together and stuck in weird ways. VG Elucidator says that the name, or the word elucidator actually means to make clear, and that makes sense because it's elucidating, like loose is the root word meaning light. That's pretty funny that you didn't know that you didn't know about the sword until after you made the name, but I'm sure many people have told you. Cool. Hash K said that they came here because of PBG hosting me last night. That makes me really happy to hear. I'm glad that you are enjoying the crafting streams because I'm going to be doing a lot more of them. You get to be here to see me manhandle this mannequin. So I'm just gonna, hold on to these titties for a little while the foam cools down. Nuptup in the chat is asking, where did you get the mannequin, by the way? I got this mannequin at a garage sale, which is not super helpful, I realize, but they're very common. I think you can find them on like Amazon and stuff. Oh, hey, sorry I missed a notification. I guess while my heat gun was going. Link fan donated $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the tips that keep our stream going and help me to get new supplies and stuff. I really appreciate that. El Langosto, thank you for the compliment on my ring. This is my I don't know what you would call this, like a non-traditional wedding band, I guess. But yeah, these mannequins, if they're not on Amazon, I'm sure they're on eBay or just wherever else, like online marketplaces. Probably not too hard to find if you're looking for it. This is a style called the half mannequin, which is why it is flat and only like the front part. Link fan says, first Jared, now Heidi, I might have a donation problem. Well, as long as you're taking care of yourself first, we certainly appreciate it. No, this is not a hair dryer, this is a heat gun. It is giving off hot air, yes, but more heat, less air than a blow dryer. You could use a blow dryer for this type of thing, but it wouldn't be as effective. Maybe for like thinner foams it would be okay. I know that some people do that, but really a heat gun is a much better tool for heating up foam. It's super windy outside. I hope you can't hear it, but I can hear it, and just outside, like, the wind's rushing around my house and all the trees and stuff are really weird. So yeah, this is a pretty chill stream where I just hold on to a titty. Welcome. Kitten says you can't hear me. Is that the entire stream? Oh, you can't hear. Oh, sorry. You can't hear the wind. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad that you can hear me, obviously, to make that comment. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I guess it's just me then. All right. So that's pretty much, you know, fine for our purposes. It's not like completely seamlessly, or yeah, completely flush molded against this, but it's certainly good enough for what I need right now. The leather will be, I think, a little bit easier to heat mold because I'll have it strapped down at the very least. I'm going to put a couple reinforcing ones right here at the end so that they don't start splitting. But otherwise, I think we can keep moving forward. Cool, awesome. I don't think I need to staple anything else unless I end up stapling this framework on, so I guess we made it. Awesome. And yes, this is still upright. So there we have our boobs. This frame is too small, but it is a pretty decent representation of what I'm going for. It just needs to be wider. And I think that the way that I'm gonna do this is just to cut, not this piece, but this one. This is my paper pattern. Oh, I guess it's a little bit harder. All right, I'm gonna just have to trace a new one. That's fine. I'm gonna, basically with this, I'm gonna cut it here and here and then just spread it. And then base my next piece onto that pattern. And we're gonna put this where it's not touching me or gonna fall off. Okay, that's fine. Piece of Vi is asking, is this the base for the leather or are you actually wearing this? This is not a part of the final costume, it's just a mock-up which is helping me test my pattern before I make it out of leather. Which I'm hoping today during this stream we'll get the mock-up done and then I can go ahead and start cutting the leather because most of these pieces are fine. Aside from this frame needing to be a little bit bigger, I think the pattern is going to be fine. So let me do that step and then we can move on to cutting leather today. VG Elucidator is asking, did I pretend to be the characters as a child or did I get into this later in life? I got into cosplay later in life, but I was into like playing pretend as a kid. I did that a lot. And I did like to, like I played Star Wars with my friends and got to be Princess Leia, and I did, you know, those kinds of like imagination games, but not like cosplay in a serious way, and I wasn't making costumes until I was already an adult, but I feel like it's very true to my interest from when I was really young, is just to play dress up and be these fictional characters, and that's really, really fun to me. Alright, so I am just taping this down to the edge to anchor it, because this edge we want to line up, and then I will go ahead and cut it. Once again, I'm only tracing half of the pattern, and then I'll mirror it on the foam when we're cutting that. I see Ricer is, yeah, just the two pieces make it, you can really see what it's gonna be like. So it's pretty exciting to see the mock-up coming together. It's the first indication of what your final costume will look like. So I've just clipped this kind of haphazardly, well not haphazardly, it's more or less at a good position so that now I can move these apart. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see white on white, but I'll trace it here in a second and then it will be a little bit clearer. But this is just gonna add some room onto our piece. And I also can put this on my body and kind of determine exactly how much extra space I want. And I know that I want at least another inch per side. So sorry if this is hard to see where I'm just like squishing my boobs through this little foam window that I cut out. But I think that it needs to have a good inch to 1.5 inches to really wrap around the side. So I'm gonna start with 1.5 inches and we'll see how I like it. I think 1.5 inches is not a bad plan. So grabbing a pencil, I'm just gonna start tracing this. And this is, I'm just putting a dashed line on that edge that I just cut because it's not a real line, but I want to know what angle these two will meet at, so I just went ahead and traced it there as well for a visual reference. Kitten says that this looks good. Well, thank you. A lot of people make armor out of foam, and that's totally valid and an awesome way to do it, and a cheap way to do it a lot of the time, or at least cheap compared to other materials. Although any cosplay is going to add up over time. But yeah, a lot of people work with foam. The reason why I still choose to do it in leather is because it's so much more durable, and I just put so much work into these things. I really want it to last. So doing it out of leather helps in that way. So I think what I'm going to do is add 1 inch to the bottom and 1.5 inches to the top and just see how it lines up. So there's 1 inch there, and there's 1.5 inches there. Because as I had this frame over me, I felt like it wasn't, like the top needed to be wider. I'm just kind of making estimates based on how it lays on me. And the second mock-up will be for checking all of that and making sure I'm happy with it. So these don't match up perfectly because it's just another pattern that I slashed and cut apart, spread apart. But it provides a guideline for us to combine these and make it into one. So let me cut these off. And I'll set this aside just in case I need to refer to it later. Also for this process, I'm going to need my curved ruler, which is definitely around here somewhere. Here it is. I have a lot of stuff on this table. I do my best to keep it clean, but that is a constant struggle with any sort of artistic pursuit where you have a lot of materials out all the time. But I'm doing better than I used to. Alright, so I've got this curved ruler laying over all of these lines, and I'm just going to redraw them as needed to make the curves blend into each other. That's actually easier than I thought. It lined up pretty well. I'm just kind of like averaging out what's already here. So this isn't like super scientific. It's more just like, do the lines look good however they're intersecting? Are they intersecting in a way that's pretty? True Animu Garbage has followed. Thank you so much. As well as JVC001 and Ninja Zenpai with an X. Thank you also for following. I think I missed your notification. Sorry. Let's see. Megan6 is asking, how much does it normally cost to get all the materials for creating a costume? That can vary widely. I would say that my costumes are more expensive than average because I usually spring for more expensive materials. So as a disclaimer, it doesn't have to always cost this much, but my costumes are often between, I don't know, several $100s at a minimum, I would say. And then I think the most I've ever spent on a costume is, Zelda was well over $1,000 in materials. I couldn't tell you exactly because I didn't add it all up. I guess I wanted to shield myself from that knowledge, but I do have all my receipts and stuff, so it's something I could figure out if I wanted. But Zelda has been my most expensive costume to date because I bought a lot of really expensive materials. So it's up to you and your crafting choices. Leather is more expensive than other options, but it's not really that expensive compared to Worbla. Foam is definitely the most economic if you are trying to make something cheaply. Blue Monkey Devil, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day at work if you can. Cool, thanks True Animu Garbage. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, I'm just making this breastplate right here, which is my mock-up based on the reference image that you see right here on the side of the screen. And this is Celica from Fire Emblem. As you can see, right now I'm working with cardstock and foam to make this outfit, but it is a mock-up that I am preparing to do the final version out of leather. So hopefully we're gonna get to that today. I'm gonna trace these patterns out, check it, and then if I'm into it, I'll go ahead and start cutting my leather pieces, which is pretty exciting. Cool. So here's our new titty window frame pattern. I'm gonna mark it exactly as such. Titty frame, this side up, center, front. Boom. Okay. Now the other thing I'm gonna do this time that's different is that I'm gonna use a slightly thinner foam. This is a little bit thicker. Well, I don't have any foam currently right now that's exactly the same thickness as my leather, which would be ideal. And this is a little bit thicker and the other one I have is a little bit thinner. But I think that this one was harder to work with because of the thickness, so I'm gonna go with something a little bit thinner and see how that compares. But I think it's gonna be fine for the leather. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a compromise either way, but I think this is gonna be close enough to give me the answers that I'm looking for at least. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way so I can roll out my foam. V Fonts, thank you for following. Welcome. Let me move Miss Titties out of the way. Oh, she just fell over. Oops. Hash K is asking, how much of the Celica costume have you completed? Not a whole lot. The things that I've worked on so far are the shoe armor, which is actually sitting right over here. So this is a leather piece that I made on stream. This is the toe of her shoe that matches her little boot over here. There we go. That is sort of approximating the angle that you see it at. Anyway, so this is an example of a piece that I made here, and the breastplate is gonna look kind of similar to that when I'm done with it, before paint anyway. So that was done on stream, and I've also done a little bit of wig work on stream, but that's all I have so far. I have not gotten into the sewing portion of the costume, which I really need to get underway if I want to have this done anytime soon. But I am happy with the progress that I've made so far. So yeah, Chango has followed, as well as Sevianis. Thank you guys so much. Oh, and also Beaufort Hammersham. Good names. I always enjoy reading the screen names people come up with. There's just so many interesting ones in the world. So I'm using a pencil on this black foam, which I'm sure is really hard to see, but I can see the line, and I'll cut it out soon so that you guys can see it too. Sorry if this part is not super interesting to watch. I try to work with lighter color foam because it's easier to mark on, and same with fabric, like whatever I'm doing a mock-up. I try to use lighter colors or anything that's going to be easier to mark. But this is also fine. This is what I had right now, so it's okay. Metage92 is followed, as well as Mute Buffalo. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so I've got that whole line. This needs to be connected. So I drew this this vertical line that you may or may not be able to see, but that is helping me line up the other half of this pattern so that I get a symmetrical piece. Dana Marie has followed. Thank you so much for your follow. Welcome to our titty armor making stream part 2. Let's see. Chansey Kong is asking, where can I listen to this song? Go to, or Google search for Twitch music playlists, and this is the Chip Tunes playlist. I couldn't tell you exactly what the song is because it like interrupts the music if I change the windows, so sorry about that, but I'm sure it's not very hard to find if you just kind of explore that playlist, and plus it has a lot of other really good older video game jams for the most part, so yeah, good music all around. Now I have a couple of knives. I want to use a smaller knife on this thinner foam, so let me try to grab one of those. Minnie's House, thank you for your follow. Welcome. Yeah, sorry for being such a slob, guys. If I were cleaner, I wouldn't have to spend so much of every stream looking for little supplies around my craft room, but this is what we have. This is where I'm at today, and I'm just trying to get some work done where I can. Dang, I might have taken it upstairs. I have my blades down here, but nothing nice itself. Well, that's frustrating. I own so many X-Acto knives, just none within reach right now, so that's something that I need to take care of, but I don't want to waste streaming time with that, so I'm just going to use this larger knife. That is going to be fine. I'll just be careful with it. I'm trying not to overdo it. This blade is now very sharp. I replaced it just last night, and yeah, it's cutting through this like butter. So that's okay. It's doing the job. You guys can start seeing it take shape. Let me check here on my questions or anything going on in the chat. Loaderbot, is there any chance you could tell me what you're using, or what cam I'm using? This is a Logitech camera. I don't know what model it is, I'm sorry. Jared could answer that question for you since he's the one who ordered it. But it's something that's 1080p, so yeah, it's a Logitech cam. This knife is so heavy, I feel like it's easier for me to get a little bit off track. Oh, sorry if my head's in the way. Also, Snowvein has followed. Thank you so much. Welcome to the leather crafting stream today. Right now we're working on a mock-up, but leather is what it's going to be. All right, VG Elucidator, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I think it's easier for me to get off track with this bigger knife, which is unfortunate, but again, I think I took my other smaller ones upstairs, and it's funny because I know that I own so many X-Acto knives that I've purchased over the years, and they've all just like disappeared to different corners of my craft room, I guess. But that's okay, this one will be more useful for cutting the leather anyway, and I don't have a ton of foam to cut out, so we will be making good progress. I'm gonna go ahead and move this roll out of the way again. Everything gets tossed onto the floor. You guys are lucky you can't see how messy the rest of this room is. Avivia bye. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but you in the chat is asking, what do you use to mount your camera? The camera is mounted on a like a little clamp that has a gooseneck kind of like mount coming out of it, so you can move it around however you want. And then it just clamps onto a piece of 1x2 that is screwed into my rafter. So it's literally just like a scrap of wood with a little clamp mount on it, and that's working for me. So it's also kind of adjustable if I wanted to move it up, but I would have to use a longer piece of wood if I wanted to move it down. So this is kind of the closest I can get without zooming in on the camera itself. Ugh, this is so frustrating. I feel like I'm not making my cuts as clean as I could, but it's okay because I'm going to be using that cardstock pattern to cut my final piece and not this. I'm not going to be tracing directly from this, so if it's not 100% perfect, it's fine. This is just my mock-up, and it is not going to affect the integrity of my final pieces, so I will get over it. Fusel Poost is saying, I think it's so lovely how well and almost admiring you speak of Jared. Happy couples are a great thing. Well, thank you. I do really admire Jared, so it's completely genuine and not, I don't know, based on even my romantic feelings for him. I have a lot of respect and admiration for him as a person. He's super driven and creative, and honestly, if he were not motivating me so much, I don't know that I would be doing this. I probably wouldn't be. I probably would have given up by now, but yeah, he's super supportive spouse and has always been there for me, and is also someone who has his own thing going, and that's really cool. So yeah, 4 and 20 Blackbirds has followed. Nice. 420. Jared is a good bean. Says enough tough here in the chat. Alright, we're almost done cutting this piece out, and once it's cut, it should be easy to mold it over the form because this foam is so much thinner. So that's good. Daxy Doe has followed. Thank you for the follow. Oh, your name is not meant to be pronounced. Great, so it's not my fault. Thanks. Thanks for letting me off the hook with that. Cool. And now we are almost back to the start. Madame Roulette has followed. Thank you so much and welcome. Oh, okay. I'm sorry that Nightbot is, Oh, I see. You're working it out here in the chat. Kitten, thank you for taking care of that with the, with the link. I appreciate you so much for always being here and helping out with the streams. I guess I don't need to change this yet. Thank you so much for coming by and helping. Okay, so this little window is now cut out. Let me put it on myself. I mean, the foam kind of stretches more than it's supposed to, but I feel like the coverage is good. So let me grab Miss Titties again, and we'll get her up here and get this molded with heat. Jukevid, thank you, as well as Marshmallow Katie has followed, and I love Kotori Minami. Oh, that's gotta be Kotori from Love Live, right? I don't watch the show, but a lot of my friends cosplay from that. Alright. So we've got Titties Part 2 over here, but I'm going to focus just on this for now, so that I can shape it using the mannequin and then test it over the other piece. And I think I'm gonna try to tape this down as best as I can, even to just give it like a temporary hold onto this. To just in the center to kind of help keep things from shifting if I can avoid it. Zombie Tray has followed. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the leather crafting stream, where I'm molding foam over some titties, some plastic boobies. Kitten, you're a wonderful mod. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Alright, so that's gonna at least hold down part of it while I work on each side. And you can see this just like collapsing under the heat. This is much, much easier to form than that other stuff I was using that was fighting me. This does not require nearly as much heat. Now this needs to be moved down, but keeping it there. Loaderbot donated $10. Thank you so much. And with the note saying, I hope this goes right into the fund for malfunctioning robots. You know what, Nightbot does not receive any sort of salary from me, so I will use it on cosplay supplies. How about that? And all the donations will go to improving the stream and improving my work and just supporting it in general. So thank you so much, Loaderbot. I really appreciate it. Awkward Espionage, also thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream today. Miss Titty for stream co-host. Well, she is, obviously. She's my featured guest for this this portion of the stream series, I guess. Chancey Kong asking, does Heidi have Celica's amiibo? No, I don't think the amiibo comes out until the game is out, which it's out in Japan, but not in America. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain. I do intend to order all of it, though. I should do that now. I should pre-order that shit. Oops. Sometimes I get so focused on making the costumes that I forget to take care of, you know, the playing the games part. That's not entirely true. I do play the games, just I guess I'm more focused on the craft, which is totally legit. You can focus on whatever you want. Alright, once again, trying to keep this relatively centered on the chest. Just gonna cusp her titty gently and hold it here until the foam cools down. And then, and then this tit window will be ready to roll. Cool, well that did not take much at all. Now I'll peel this tape off and show you guys how it's looking. Yeah, now I'm using black foam on a black mannequin, and so yeah, I'm just not doing great on the material color choices, but hopefully this gives you a little bit more. Okay, so now I have made this so wide now that it is now too wide for this guy, which is fine. I mean, that's not unexpected given how much space I added. So I am going to need to recreate at least some of these pieces to make them larger and have that seam allowance that will help us put everything together. But before I move it all apart, I'm going to try to tape this in place and just kind of investigate it a little bit more. Piece of Vi, is asking, what was my most difficult costume to put together? Definitely Zelda. She's the most ambitious project I've tackled in a while, and you can see photos of that in my bio below. At least one of those banners is a picture of the Zelda costume I made. So that one is certainly the most difficult thing I've ever made. And I have a website now. If you go to atelierheidi.com, you can look at all of my costumes and see for yourself what, I don't know, what you think is the most impressive or whatever. Shiny Kiwi has followed. Thank you so much, Shiny Kiwi, and welcome. Okay, so this isn't actually sticking out too much. It's just sticking out a little bit on both sides. And from the back, it is gonna need a little bit more kind of all around. But I like this sizing a lot better than how I had it originally, so I do want to adapt those white pieces to fit within the black piece. Oh, here you can see it better now that it's off that form. But this is the shape that it's taking with the frame and then the boob portions of it. And you can see the big difference between the thicknesses of the material that I'm using. I think that's certainly adding to the issue I'm having with the size discrepancy here, but it's not unexpected that I would have to adjust these to match the adjustment that I made on the exterior. So, let me see how I want to proceed. I really only need to add additional material to the outside. I don't need to adjust this seam line at all on either side because that's hitting where it's supposed to. It just needs to be wider, have a larger perimeter. So on this side is where it's gapping the most. I'm tried to put it centered as much as possible, but there is a little bit of variation. It's only about 1/4 of an inch. So it needs to be 1/4 of an inch wider in order to fit there. But these guys need to, I could add some material in the middle too, and that would space this out a little bit more. Okay, so I decided that it needed at least a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm gonna write this stuff down. So I added a 1/2 inch seam allowance to my, these guys when I was first starting the patterning process. And so if I need a 1/4 of an inch to close in the gap plus an additional 1/2 inch, it needs to be 3/4 of an inch. Oops, what am I writing? 3 2s, 3/4 of an inch total, added to each side from the center. So we're only working with half. So I could add 1/4 of an inch to the center and a 1/2 inch to the exterior here, and I think that would be good. I think that would be very good. So I'm gonna pull my other pieces back over here and make those notes. The center front, these are aligned like this. The center front needs plus 1/4 inch, and then the outer edge needs plus 1/2 inch, which would create a total additional space of 3/4 of an inch per side. And for the rest of this, like as far as up and down, like the top and the bottom are concerned, a lot of 1/2 inch to the top, and yeah, 1/4 inch to the bottom. Yes. That's gonna be a little bit trickier with this. It's just gonna get 1/2 inch all the way around. And if there is extra material, that's fine. Because I can trim it and it's gonna be overlapped. So if I have like weird edges that aren't like 100% perfect of these two pieces, the outer frame, the frame is gonna cover any sort of additional material that is on the boob cup itself, but the boob cup can't be smaller than the frame. It's okay if it's bigger, but it's not okay if it's smaller. So I'm gonna try to err on the side where it has more room to work with. So what did I say? I really need to split it, I guess. If this is gonna get a 1/2 inch all the way around, then I'm just gonna add a 1/2 inch to both the top and the bottom. That'll solve the issue, and then I can trim as needed. Cool. So there's my whole decision-making process that you guys just got to hear out loud. Shiny Kiwi's heading out. I have to go give the car a bath and pick up my mom. So thank you for showing up, Shiny Kiwi, and we'll see you later. Let's see what I have in the way of extra cardstock. I think I can get away with not using another, which is my titty frame pattern. Can't lose that. These are too small to be useful. It's also too small to be useful. Yeah, all of these are. Oh well. Got some more right here. Oh, Sapphire Gray, I'm sorry your internet's lagging out. I appreciate the attempt. Oh no, my matcha's getting cold. Oh well, I still like it. Megan6 is asking, what is your favorite video game soundtrack? I'm assuming that's a general question for everyone here in the chat. So please go ahead and submit your answer if you've got one. For me personally, my favorite video game soundtrack is Suikoden 2 or Suikoden 1. Those are both really, really good soundtracks. And in fact, I feel like Suikoden 1, the soundtrack is one of the very few ways in which it is superior to Suikoden 2. So that's my vote. My vote is Suikoden 1 on the PlayStation 1. It's an old school JRPG. And it has a really, really amazing soundtrack by Miki Higashino, who is a female composer. And she did a really, really great job with setting the mood for that whole series. Sola Heka says, use the heat gun on your teeth. If only. I don't know how well that would work. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit because this center front seam is 100% straight, and I know that because I, used a ruler, did that on purpose. So if I'm adding 1/4 inch to it, I'm just gonna do 1/4 inch away from the edge of this paper, and then that perfect straight cut is already made for me. Hee hee hee. Now for the rest of this, I'm starting with just tracing the piece itself. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my 1/2 inch top and bottom. So my clear ruler is making it really easy to line up that line with the 1/2 inch mark, and then I'm just making a series of dashes. It'll serve as a guideline for adding some width to this. Cool. So now we have a much wider or taller version of this, and so I'm not adding any length to this center seam because I was happy with it and how the two are lining up, but every other side needed a little bit more space to accommodate the larger boob window that we made. We've got some really good answers here for the favorite soundtrack question. Yeah, there's a lot of really good answers in there. Borderlands, Fire Emblem Awakening, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Nier, Nier, Fallout 4. Identical Twins Rule, thanks for the host. So this side of the piece has a little bit of curve to it, not much, but still there. So using my trusty curved ruler to help recreate these lines. Cool, that actually looked pretty good. And with this, it just needs to be we'll see if that needs any adjustment. I want to just kind of continue it at the same angle that it was going at. Marine Rose 94 has followed. Thank you so much and welcome. Loaderbot is heading out. Sorry I didn't get any sleep last night. It's 2 a.m. for you. Well, thank you so much for showing up at all, and we appreciate you. Cool. So this is center front, once again, marking that much. We'll say this is center boob, center bust, center bust. An arrow indicating the top, and now we're going to the side bust. Vampiric Yoda, thank you for the host. Well, that line didn't quite show up. There we go, that's better. So on this piece, I decided that we're adding a 1/2 inch all the way around on this side, and this center bust seam is going to remain untouched. I should have marked the actual apex, but I didn't. Oh well, it'll be fine. With the way that the wet molding and the stitching will work, I don't think it will really matter. And once again, the edges are going to be hidden by overlapping. Well, the frame is going to be overlapping on top of them, so I'm not that concerned. Yeah, I really am enjoying this more energetic chiptunes playlist. I did go ahead and upload yesterday's stream onto my YouTube channel, and that's where I was having issues with copyrighted music being blocked in certain countries. So this is still copyrighted and still not going to be able to be monetized, I believe. It might vary per song, but at the very least, I hope that it's not blocked anywhere. So if you are in one of those countries that has been blocked on YouTube, if you were having issues with that, I really appreciate it if you could just check out that video and make sure that it plays for you at all and it is available. And you know, if it is, then great. Then we found a solution here for the music. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to keep searching for a playlist that is not gonna be blocked. but I like what we're listening to for now. Vampiric Yoda, thank you for the follow. There we go. This is the side bust. That being the top. I'm going to erase some of these interior lines so I don't get confused and cut along the wrong thing. Tridecan has followed, as well as Pipluff. Thank you guys for following. Cool. Alright, now I'm ready to go ahead and cut this out. Start on this line because it's weirdly hard to see. I just want to make sure I get it right. I am an endless source of incorrect pronunciation, so I'm glad that you get a kick out of it and that it's not offensive, I hope. At least not to you. Oh, MP Laffy is so bummed that they have to leave for sushi and wine. That sounds amazing. I would love to leave the stream for sushi and wine right now. Just kidding. A minute for the stream, a minute for you guys. But sushi and wine does sound really good. Enjoy your dinner. So I think I'm gonna go back to that black foam again, even though it's not ideal for this and it's hard to see on the titties. It is closer to the size that well, it's closer to the frame that I'm using, and I want them to be consistent to show me, you know, how they're gonna interact with each other. So I'm just gonna have to use the darker color, unfortunately, because it's harder to see, but it's better for my purposes, so. Flux Blue, thank you for the follow, welcome. A piece of Vi says that I pronounced their name correctly. Yay, I did it. I got one. See? Let the record reflect. Okay, my foam piece again that I've discarded by tossing across the room. Let me fetch that. And once again, Miss Titties is getting set aside for now. I think that I am just gonna make half of this boob cup this time because I think I can get away with that. We'll see. Let me grab my phone. All right. Hey, not bad. It's pretty good placement to minimize the material scrap. Cool. So I'm just gonna do one side for now, and then if I really feel like we need a second side, then I'll do a second side. Z the Gamer, thank you for your follow. Welcome to the leather crafting stream, although I haven't done any leather work today. We're getting there. Potion Seller, thanks for showing up after your nap. I am cutting out a second foam mock-up because I made some adjustments to my pattern, and I just want to make sure that I'm 100% happy with it before I cut into my expensive leather, which is, if I cut into the leather and then ended up having problems with the pattern and didn't fit together, it would make me very sad. So that is what the purpose of the mock-up is. The last one was pretty close to what I was going for, but it wasn't quite the right size. So I need to cut out another one just to double check that the pieces are going to interact with each other the way that I want to. And if it passes this second test, then I will go ahead and move on to leather next. So we're getting really close. Thanks, Snuptub, for stopping by. Have a good rest of your day. Cool. Trying to keep caught up with the chat a little bit better this time. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing, even if they're redundant or you're just tuning in and you're trying to figure out what's going on, I will try to stay on top of answering that kind of stuff. Alright, now with our pieces to reference, make sure I don't do this the wrong way, I'm going to go back to my stapling and go back to my taping and see if I can get these lined up in a way that is pretty decent. Now, the way this is stretched and the fact that I added material to it, oh, am I doing this the right way? No, I'm not. See, that would have been wrong. This needs to be the side on the interior. Does that line up now? Not bad. Okay, that's fine. Hold that together temporarily and feed this into my little stapler guy. Oh, thanks for the host Identical Twins rule. That's very nice of you to try to support other streamers and stuff. Whew. My finger's fine, by the way. It got caught in the plastic frame, but not the actual staple. Alright, I need to go ahead and add some heat to this to make it a little bit easier to bend. Oh, and you know what? Miss Titties is going to help with this. I'll get Miss Titties back up here, and then that'll help me get the curve I'm looking for. Sola Heka asking, did I create the pattern with the duct tape method or what else? Yes, it was the duct tape method. I just used masking tape instead of duct tape. So... I am also using this mannequin rather than my body to... Oh wow, see that bends so much more easily. Well, not that you can see it with the black on black, but yeah, I lost my train of thought on that. This is pulling apart a little bit more, but it is a lot easier to manipulate. Yeah. Sorry, it's just really hard to do this in a way that's on camera because it needs to be on the edge of my table. Okay, my lines actually line up pretty well on both the top and the bottom. I've got about half of this stapled now. See, the staples are working nicely because they're shining and you can actually see the work that I'm doing. You know, I think this one would also... Oh, that was not very centered. Oops. I think that this would also work just fine with tape instead of the staples, but that other foam was just too thick. It required a lot more force than the tape was able to provide without peeling up. Madeline, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you saying hello even if you can't stay. All of these heat gun horror stories I'm seeing here in the chat. I've been lucky that I haven't had any heat gun issues. I need to be careful because this is a plastic table, which is why I'm not applying too much heat or for too long. Just trying to be mindful of that because the table itself isn't plastic, but my work surface is plastic, so that could easily become distorted, but so far, so good. Alright, this is decent. Having this lined up on the center line is good enough for my purposes for now. Tom War 3 Loon. Tom War, thank you for the follow. I guess that I don't need to peel this up. Alright. So I have this center line lined up perfectly with the center of this other piece. And I think that I have solved our issues with the fit. It's only one booby, but it only needs to be one booby because it's symmetrical. And this now, I wish it were as easy to see as the white, but I ordered some white foam that's in the correct thickness, so next time this won't happen. It'll be easier to see. But this is a much closer size to what I'm going for, and it does all fit together. So I am gonna go ahead and approve this and make my next piece out of it. And here it is on my boobies. So I think that's gonna be good. And just for show, I'm gonna put this one back together and take a photo of it. It's much, much easier to look at. So this is the progress photo I'm gonna post. It's kind of cheating. Maybe it's not cheating. I did make it. It's just not the final version. But it's a version that's easier to show off, and so that certainly counts for something. Yeah, this tape is just not doing anything. Oh well. There you go. There you can see it all, and then this is a larger version of basically the same thing. And I am going to give it the stamp of approval and move on to start tracing the leather. I'm gonna throw away this tape, guys. It's not doing anything for me. I need to come to terms with that and get some fresh tape. Ice Princess 213 says that they were watching my Asagao Academy playthrough with Jared and playing along. That's really cute. That makes me happy to hear. That playlist is on Jared's gameplay channel as well as my own personal YouTube channel. It's linked in the playlist section. So if you're curious about that, you can go check it out there. But I did a Let's Play series with Jared, my husband, for his channel, and it was a lot of fun. Man, I have all these notifications. Sorry, guys. Oh, and you can totally see what I'm doing. I should keep that to a minimum. So here's a quick photo shoot. Of the work that we have done, just to show it off. Siak has followed, and Tom Ware already said that one, but thank you guys both. This is EVA Foam. Thanks, you guys. We're all answering each other's questions in the chat. You know, I love that. It's less work for me to do. And yeah, this is all looking really good. So this mock-up was based on our altered pattern that I made this stream. And I'm going to go back to this pattern because it is the more precise version, I guess, since this was a little bit janky. But I did get the information that I needed from it, which is that it is going to be the right size to fit me. And so with that, I can move on in confidence and set Miss Titties aside again. So now I need to grab my leather and roll that out, and I'll probably need to make some more space. But I am going to go ahead and keep moving on to the next step and start drawing this out and cutting it, and then we'll have a breastplate really soon, I hope. Let me do that. I'll be right back. I'm back. Leather delivery. Oh, let me turn off some of the lights I just turned on. It's gonna bother me if they stay on. Alright guys, so this is a roll of 5 to 7 ounce veg tanned leather. I think I'm gonna trace on the back because I don't have my special disappearing ink pens anymore. I ran out of ink in them, so my ink is not going to disappear from the leather. And with that in mind, I would much rather trace it on the back side and then not have any issues with the pen like creating impressions in the surface of the leather or anything like that. So let me situate this a little bit unwieldy. This gives me a pretty decent space to work in. Once again, I need to mirror this, so I'm trying to keep that in mind when I choose the placement of my pieces. But I think this is actually a pretty good spot for it to cut it without having a ton of lost material. Alright, that works for me. Gerudo Tracor has followed, thank you. Oh, just needs to be moved up a little bit. Just trying to check my work. Also, Jimmy Ragazzino, I missed your notification while I was messing around looking for materials, so thank you guys so much for following. Yeah, that's gonna be fine. If I had this like already laid out in a, like if I had made a mirror image on like a larger piece of cardstock or something like that, that would probably allow me to get a little bit better placement on my piece of leather to minimize the size of the scraps that I'm going to be creating. But ultimately, I don't think the difference is going to be that dramatic, and I'd rather just be more efficient with my time. So this is how we're doing it today. Cool. There we have it. And this is nice and easy to see for once. I'm using a contrast color to trace something. So there we go. Sorry, I'm seeing a lot of questions here that I have been ignoring while I've been tracing this as much as I can. Let's see. Leather costs can vary quite a bit, and I'm part of a, the way that Tandy pricing works is that you can get a membership to their business, basically, and then get discounts based on your discount level. So I'm one of the members of their customer base, I guess, and so prices are lower because of that. So, like, basically, I paid a lump sum to get the ability to have cheaper leather throughout the year. So that affects the price a lot, and I feel like it's hard for me to say exactly what, oh, sorry, I hit the microphone. Exactly what the prices will be for other people, and also depends on where you live and what's available in your area. But it is like, it is more on the expensive side, but it's not really, it's comparable to Warbler, I would say. So this is a veg tanned leather. It's already been tanned. It's been processed and ready for creating things with. So I am going to paint it white and gold to match the colors. Welcome back, people who are showing up now. Awesome. Thanks, Cactus Wolf, for looking up those prices. That's super helpful. I do shop at Tandy for most of my stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these pieces and then I'll have a scrap, which is fine. I end up using the scraps a lot of the time. And actually I'm gonna need mirror images of both of these too. So before I trace this, I'm gonna have both of these sides be up. So my writing is on the same side. And then I'm gonna trace another copy and I need to make sure that I flip them over. Do not let me trace this without flipping it over, please. I need to flip it over in order to make sure that I'm creating mirrored image pieces because unlike the foam, these pieces will not be reversible. There is a right and wrong side to the leather. And so if I fail to flip them, which I have done in previous projects in the past, luckily not for a long time, if I do that, if I fail to flip it, then I will end up with a piece that I can't use at all. Then it'll just be waste, and that will be very frustrating. Dingell has followed, as well as Morty with some numbers. Thank you guys so much. Welcome to the stream. Now it's really a leather craft stream because I've got the leather out and we're going for it. Now, before I trace it again, flip, keep them down so that I don't accidentally pick them up and put them in the wrong position. And wow, this is actually helping me to conserve pretty well. These pieces fit together nicely. Alright, so time to trace them all. Alright, and now I want to make a couple notes on the backs of these pieces. No, I'm not, because that'll be hard to keep straight in my brain. What I'm going to do instead of that is just reference these patterns once the pieces of leather are cut. And to do the leather cutting, I need to grab some more fresh water, and I've got my knife here, and I think that's everything else that I need, and my sponge. So let me grab those couple of items, and then I'll go ahead and start cutting these guys out. Thank you guys for the flip it over comments, flip it hype that I thankfully did not forget to do when I was tracing this. Alright, just checking in the chat. Everybody seems like they're having a good time. Let me know if any of you guys are working on your own projects. I've been getting some comments about how people like to work on their own cosplays or art forms or just homework or whatever in the background, which I think is really cool. So let me know if you're working on something currently, and we can all chat about our art. Now, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to start the cut from over here and then like cut out this whole chunk so that I can move it around, maneuver it better on this table and under my my camera as well. So if you're just tuning into the leather cutting for the first time, I am using water on a sponge to help to manipulate the water and give it a smoother cutting. Which I'm running out of water, but I think it's fine. I just need to make sure I moisten this whole area. Oh yeah, a lot of people are working on stuff over here. Got some cosplays, creative writing assignments, chemistry homework. So it's not all all creative, but a lot of it is. Make sure this cut made it all the way through, and then I'll stop blocking the camera with my head, I hope. Awesome. Aside from the very top, it is separating. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so this will be a little bit more relaxed. Oh, You Love Lucy said that she's working on Dragon Con sketches. They're doing the Hogwarts Founders as D&D classes. That sounds like a really fun mashup. Pura cosplay, says Katarina. A lot of cosplays. Illustrations of a Lolita version of Kiki from Kika's Delivery Service, says Pocket Kitty. That sounds like a fun idea. Princess Mononoke. These are all good cosplay ideas. Make sure this is totally separated. There we go. Yes. Is the music just at a really soft point, or is it stopped entirely? Let me know and I'll check on that in just a second after I'm done with this cut. It might want some confirmation that we're still listening. Yeah, I do think it's off. Sorry, it's kind of quiet for me, so I'm not entirely certain. It has stopped. Okay, great. Thank you guys for letting me know. Back to the chiptunes. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to start from the top. This is what we started on last night. This is DJ Catman with Maybe Village. Good jams. And maybe next time I'll see if I can find a different chiptunes playlist so that we're not just listening to the same songs, but it's gonna be fine for today. Right, guys? Oh, Katarina says that it was for Killer Cactus and the Purr cosplay. But she's working on Umaru-chan, so trying to get the courage to sew. Well, you should definitely get the courage to sew. I highly recommend sewing. I think it's fun. Maybe the act of sewing isn't fun for everyone, but having the finished art and the finished project that you've sewn is really exciting. And so you gotta put the work in to get the results, but I highly recommend it. And if you mess up, you just do it again. That's exactly what I've done in these streams. Alright, we're on our last leg here of separating the pieces that I've traced away from the huge piece of extra leather that I don't want hanging off my table. So the end is in sight. Siak says they're sitting in a lecture, like in a classroom. That's really funny. sneaky Twitch watching. I love it. It's like some stuff that I would do. I used to write fan fiction, read and write fan fiction during my lectures if I was bored. That was when I was in like community college though. After I got to university, I stepped it up and was working on cosplay stuff during the lectures. You know, better use of my time. Alright, there we go. And now I can wrap up this enormous piece of leather and get it out of the way. So I'm just gonna curl it and then take this straight back to my closet so it doesn't become clutter. Moving on. Ow. I'm fine. I just like rubbed my leg against this table weirdly. Patch K, you made it back. Awesome. Me too. Noir Boy is asking, what was the weirdest thing that ever happened to you while cosplaying? That's a really, really tough question because I've seen and done and been a part of so many weird things in costume. But I have an answer for you. Give me a second. Okay, my answer for this, which is maybe not the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me, but it is a weird thing that's happened to me and a good story, I think. I did a photo shoot at a convention center, but not during a con. It was just a building that had like sort of a futuristic industrial look to it. So it was, I knew about it because of the con, and a photographer and I decided to go there not during a con so that we could take advantage of the space without a lot of other people around. So we went and did that, and there was another event going on that was like some sort of family event, like a large wedding or like a family reunion or I don't know what. But we did our photo shoot, and the way that the building was set up was that it had this like large external staircase that was lit up, and that's what we were using, and it led to some upper balconies of the convention center that were being used by this other family reunion or whatever event. And so the photo shoot was done, and their event was also over. Like, there weren't people around. There were like some really well-dressed people that were kind of trickling out and leaving, but it was basically over and they weren't like all around or anything like that. Anyway, we were done with our shoot and we came across this giant box outside, just like a big-ass cardboard box, and looked inside and there was just like tons and tons and tons of Kentucky Fried Chicken that I guess was left over from the catering of this event. So we just took it and we went home with the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it was still warm, so I know that it hadn't been out for a long time, but it was like, yeah, we found a giant box full. It was actually multiple boxes full. We only took one box because we were like, no, we're at our limit. There's only so much chicken we can eat. And we went home and we immediately called some of our friends and were like, Kentucky Fried Chicken party, come over here right now. And they did, and we had a Kentucky Fried Chicken party. And that was one of the best or weirdest things that happened to me while I was in cosplay. But I'm sure that I could think of many other stories that are maybe even weirder than that if I gave it some time. Bryson Baggins, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Hey, it's Char's asking, what sewing projects do you recommend for noobs to gain some skill on a machine? Like well, I come from cosplay, obviously, and not everybody's into anime, but like anime school uniforms are a really good starter project because there's tons and tons of tutorials out there. It's basically like a pleated skirt most of the time for a girl costume, a female uniform. It's usually like a pleated skirt and whatever, like little top or a blazer. So those are generally some of the more simple garments that you can make. And on top of that, there's lots of resources available for that type of costume. So that's one way that you can start. Otherwise, if you're not into like anime or you're not into a character that has that kind of look, anything that has like a garment with relatively simple lines, like dresses or skirts that are like an A-line kind of style, are a great beginner project. Just anything that will help you to learn the ropes of the machine and start to understand some of the principles behind the patterns, as well as, you know, how to work with the fabric itself. Because that's really all you need. You can make whatever type of costume you want, as long as it's something that is simple enough that you feel ready, that you understand how it fits together. So, yeah, I would recommend doing that. And then just looking up as many tutorials that cover the type of thing you want to make, and then just start going. Yeah, a bunch of other people have some good suggestions going on in the chat of what you could do for your first costume that wouldn't be super intensive, but will show you the ropes of how to sew and start using your sewing machine. Ooh. I hope I'm not getting too far off here. Oof. My knife was not 100% straight in that last cut, and that was not how I should have done it. But it'll be fine after all of the edge beveling that we're gonna do, the edge slicking, burnishing stuff as well. Get all evened out, so that's fine. Man, this knife is definitely not my favorite. It's a little bit harder to control than the other guy, but I need to replace the blade in the other one. Put even more water on this because I just feel like it's fighting me a little bit. Bryson Baggins asking, why do I make it wet? And yes, it does make it easier to cut. Just leather, you need a lot of water for, whether you're shaping it or cutting it or tooling the surface. Water is what makes leather, hey, there we go, easier to work with. Something about it, the way it like activates the material, it's just makes things easier to manipulate and mold. Kitten says that they're worried about my hands cutting my hands if I accidentally slip. Yeah, this knife is not really more dangerous than the other ones. It's just you have to get used to how you're holding it. I have done quite a bit of cutting with this, and so I'm not worried about myself. I'm also going slowly and carefully with that in mind so that I don't accidentally cut myself. But I think we're gonna be okay. Thank you guys for caring about my well-being. Muffet Pastries, thank you so much for the follow. My Supernova Sunshine said they made it. Hello, thank you, welcome to the chat. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna kind of approach this from another angle now. I'm just trying to move this along with slow motions. It looks like it's jerking a little bit, and I think it's because the leather is so dry. So I'm adding more water to it to help it cut a little bit smoother. But I am being very gentle with the movement so that I don't accidentally jerk it back and end up cutting myself. So rest assured that I am being careful. Hey, Mandolin says that we have over 1,100 followers. We reached 1,000 last night, and I was super happy about that because I was not expecting it so soon. But thank you guys all for following. It's really, really encouraging to know that people are interested in these types of projects. I'm definitely going to keep going and keep doing more of this stuff. So thank you all for following. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is like creating little wafer thin pieces where it's getting separated, but the cut itself is pretty clean, so yay. It worked how I needed it to. Muppet Pastries, thank you so much for the compliment on my cosplays. I work hard on them, but you know, there's a lot of variables, a lot of things that happen with costumes, so I'm glad that you enjoy them. This is a really good remix. I love this song. There we go. All I need was a gentle touch with a knife, and then it was free. Icy Princess 213 says, besides the Final Fantasy thief, does Jared ever cosplay with you? Yes, Jared has done a small variety of costumes with me. The first one that we ever did at all was the Final Fantasy White Mage and Thief, and I was the White Mage and he was the Thief. Other than that, he has a Jared costume. Let me explain. The game Asagao Academy, which is it's like a fan-made online game, or it's a browser game, I think. It's like a visual novel dating sim style game where you can date all of the boys from Normal Boots. Hey, there we go. It is mirrored exactly how we needed it to be. Although I guess they go together like this. Anyway, Jared is a character in the game, and so I made him a costume of himself, the fictional version. So yes, Jared has cosplayed as Jared with me, and then I was cosplaying as the fictional main female character from that game, who is not based on any real humans. But I got to make that costume to wear with him. And then the other one we did together was a much more involved cosplay from the game Vagrant Story on PlayStation 1, which is a really old, like, kind of dungeon crawler, like, action RPG. That one is a really, really great game, and it has beautiful cosplay designs. And it's not quite a Final Fantasy title, but it was made by Square Enix and actually exists in the same universe as some of the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 12. So anyway, I made him a costume from that game as well. If you want to see photos of that, you can go to my website, atelierheidi.com, and under the gallery section, you can see photos of Jared cosplaying with me as those various characters. But yeah. Mandolin says they haven't heard Vagrant Story mentioned in forever. Yeah, it's an older game. It wasn't like wildly popular. It was, you know, it has sort of like a cult following in its own right. But I love that game so much, and I love the designs from the game. That's cut through. So that had been on my cosplay list for a really long time, and I finally made Merlos from that game for myself a couple years ago. I just don't wear it very much because the armor is so hard to move around in that I basically just can't. But I really need to do another photo shoot with Jared in those costumes because we don't have a lot of pictures of our work. And Jared helped make his costume, by the way. He doesn't always make his own costumes, or almost always I make his costumes. But on that one, we were on a really tight time crunch, and so I was just like, look, Jared, you're gonna learn some leather work, let's do this. And he did. And so he helped me cut out the pieces, he helped me do some beveling on the edges and stuff like that. So Jared was instrumental in the creation of that costume. He also has a Dieth costume, which is his own D&D character, and I made that costume for him, but yeah, that one is not on my website because I don't have any photos of it because he's only worn it one time, but I'm going to change that real soon, don't worry. probably didn't need to cut that, but whatever. It's gonna make me happier when it's cut and I am moving on to the next piece. Oh, Katerina is reminding me that yes, I do have a blog on how to make Asagao Academy costumes, or where to buy the pieces, and or make a jacket for yourself if you want to do that. And that is also on my website, atelierheidi.com. Under the tutorials tab, you can find all of that stuff linked right there. Within One Tiger is asking, where and how do you store all of your costumes? I'm really lucky that we have a pretty spacious house. And so I actually have a costume storage room, which is an entire room filled with costumes that I've never shown, actually, but I need to. I need to do a little bit more organizing and make that space more usable. But right now it's storing lots of costumes, so I basically have an entire room that's a giant walk-in closet. And that is where my costumes exist. That is where they live. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off, because otherwise it's going to be a pain in the ass. Cactus Wolf says, it's nice to have leather tutorials from someone who isn't a crusty old Texan man. Well, I am one of those things, technically. I am from Texas, but I'm not in Texas now. I'm in California now, which is more suitable to my tastes. But you are 100% right that a lot of the existing videos that are resources for leathercraft are like very traditional leather tooling type videos that are like for Western gear or saddles and tack and stuff like that, which my uncle actually does. My uncle is a professional leather worker, and he has a business where he makes saddles and tack and other items. And ironically, I did not learn any of my leather craft from him because we've always lived pretty far apart, but yeah, I don't know, maybe this runs in the family. Creative people doing creative things. This is just not cutting smoothly enough. Identical Twins Rule says they gotta go. Well, thank you so much for, you know, stopping by. I appreciate you being here in the chat. Oh, my chat might have scrolled up. Bryson Baggins is asking, why are you using leather for this and not just fabric? Because this is armor and it needs to be, it needs to support itself. If it were fabric, it would just be like a flimsy little thin thing. I mean, depending on what fabric I use, but yes, it needs to be some sort of material that has its own structure. So whether I use leather or foam or thermoplastics, all of those could be valid approaches to this, but fabric just wouldn't do the job for the thing that I'm trying to make. All right, one more piece is free, and now we are on to our last big piece. GC Tom has followed. Sorry I missed your notification a second ago. Thank you for following. Welcome to the leather crafting stream. Zia Gamer is asking, what's your favorite material to work with? Probably leather. I do a lot of leather working, and I generally choose to make things out of leather whenever I can, because I enjoy it and because I already understand how to use it. Which isn't to say that I wouldn't branch out, but I guess what I'm saying is that I have experience here already. I like it, and it's a really, really versatile and useful material, so that's why I choose it over other things. This is just soaking up the water so quickly, but that's okay. Alright, I am gonna change this knife. I think that could be attributing to the problems. Or at least I'm gonna flip it around. Yeah. I changed this blade last night, but foam and leather both dull the blades very quickly. Come on. So I'm just gonna use the other edge of this until I need to replace the blade entirely. My Supernova Sunshine said that they just looked up the Vagrant Story pics. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you like that costume. I love it too. It's one of my favorites, and I think that it's some of my best work, but it's just so obscure that, like, number one, most people don't even know what it is or care about it. Number two, it's so hard to wear that it hasn't seen much the light of day very often, but I do really like that costume, and I'm proud of my work on that one. Travel is asking, does the leather come in that color, or do you do something to it first? For this type of leather, yes, it comes in this color. This is just the raw leather. Well, not like raw. It has been tanned. It has been tanned already, but this is the raw form that you would purchase veg tanned leather in from the store. Yeah, there's still a lot of friction here. It's like moving my piece. So I'm just gonna keep putting water on until it does what I want. Carla Driver, thank you so much for saying that she really likes the community here. Thank you. I really like the community here. You guys have been such a joy to interact with during my streams. I was super nervous when I first started streaming, and I had a lot of anxiety about, like, I don't know what it was gonna be like. And fear that people would be rude or unwelcoming, and I have been so pleasantly surprised at how wonderful everyone is who comes to these streams, because I've had very, very few problems with anyone, and almost always really, really wonderful, welcoming, and friendly people. So thank you guys for doing that for me and for each other, and being so kind and creating a lovely space for us to hang out. Means a lot to me. Okay. So that's separated pretty well. Artisan Bagels is asking, is there a character you would like to cosplay would be extremely impractical to make? I answered this last night, actually. But open Google and type in Argilla. I always say it with a soft G. Argilla, which is A-R-G-I-L-L-A. Argilla demon form. Just go ahead, I'm not gonna cut that. Go ahead and look that up. That is a character from a Shin Megami Tensei game. Digital Devil Saga. Sorry, took me a moment. And that character has animatronic talking boobs. Her boobs have mouths, and her face does not have a mouth. And she talks from her tits, and they go back and forth one after the other, and they like finish each other's sentences, and it's very amusing, especially because the game is like really intense and kind of dark and really dramatic, and so you'll go to these cutscenes where they're in their demon forms and they're having these like conversations over life and death matters, and then all of a sudden her boobs are talking and it just totally takes you out of the moment. Oh no, I got too excited there. I needed to drink some more tea or water. But yeah, that one I would say is not a practical costume, but still something that I want to do someday because it's so funny. Oh, much better. Oh, sorry if Nightbot is deleting messages. They don't like a lot of... Nightbot is a little bit picky about no symbols and not too much caps lock, so sorry about that. I'm gonna see if I can adjust that. Links are disabled, but you can ask permission. You can whisper it to a mod if there's still a mod active here. Or I think that we got it worked out so that Kitten, who was here earlier, was giving people permission for links when they needed it. The Mighty Dragon Wolf, thank you for your follow. Welcome. Oh, thank you, Mandolin, for trying to post Argilla. She's a lot of fun. Oh, that's okay, Kitten. You can Yeah, I appreciate you being here at all. You don't need to be super attentive. Luckily, we don't have a lot of issues with the chat. Everybody's on their best behavior. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get some pictures of Jared Diaz this weekend. So like I said, it might be really hard to find one because there's just not really many that exist. But I will hopefully be remedying that very soon. My Supernova Sunshine is asking, would you build in speakers to the Argilla boobs? I would do something like that. I would love for them to have like speech coming from the boobs, or to kind of like imitate that. I don't know, man. Like that's, I say that it's like my dream costume, and while yes, I would really like to make it, I'm not actively trying to like solve those problems or make that decisions. My brain power is being devoted to other priorities, let's say. But yeah, I would love to find some way to theoretically make this costume and make it talk from the boobs. Talking titties. That would certainly turn some heads. No, I went off my line just so slightly. But it's... Oh, that's fine. It's fine. I just had to be so careful cutting this leather, but that turned out pretty well, so no complaints. Let me just keep tossing things. So here we are on our last piece. Oh, Kitten, thank you for showing the photos. I appreciate that. Within Tiger is asking, would you rather get donations or subscribers? Well, right now I don't have any subscribers because I'm not a Twitch partner, so donations are wonderful. But I'm hoping to join the affiliate program soon. I have almost been streaming for a month, which is one of the requirements to be an affiliate. So my first stream ever was on April 1st. So I think that by May 1st I should be eligible. I'm gonna go ahead and look into that very soon. But for right now, I don't have any subs. I just have followers, and I am very appreciative that some of them have been so gracious as to donate to our stream, because all this stuff is expensive, but I'm doing it anyway because I love it. So thanks for your contributions. Galilipial is here. Good evening. How am I this evening? I'm good. How's everyone else doing this evening? I think doing pretty well.
In your business, you trust people who time and time again get the job done.
I'm gonna keep adding water to this because I'm really worried we're getting into this curved area, and that's the easiest place to like roll off the line.
That's why over
These
3 million
knives.
businesses use Indeed when they're hiring, because getting the job done. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com.
Mariekos is asking, Heidi, did you end up making the outline of what I'm cutting right now wider than the foam model? I remember you saying something about that, doing that. Yes, that was actually the first part of the stream when I went live. It was the first thing we did was make a new mock-up, which I set aside or I would show it to you. But very soon I will show you the leather version of that, because we're getting really close to being done cutting this out. But yes, I did spend time making a second mock-up and correcting that issue, and made everything a little bit bigger overall. Come on, it's like there's like a spot that is not allowing this blade to move. Okay, good. We're past it. Yeah, sometimes you just get weird little spots in the leather because it's an organic material, so it has all kinds of natural variations in it. So you just gotta kind of be patient and careful as you're cutting. This is a really good song. Travelsome is asking, what am I going to do after I finish cutting the breastplate? I am going to start doing some surface detail, although I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming tonight. I might save that for Saturday. It is about 6 o'clock here. I've been streaming for 2 hours. I'm gonna at least get through all the cutting today, but I don't know how long I'm gonna continue after that. I have to talk to Jared about what he wants to do for dinner and feed myself on time, because last night I got cranky because I had to wait and have my dinner after the stream. But it was fine, by the way. I had a really good dinner and felt much better after eating. So. I think lifting it slightly is helping me, but I'm worried that I'm going to accidentally like slip and cut too far. So I'm turning this around. I'm going to start cutting from the corner so that I don't cut too far. Carla Driver says that Jared looks so spooky in his Vagrant Story cosplay. Yes, he does. He's the bad guy. He's cosplaying as the main villain from the game, or so you think. And I am cosplaying as one of the main characters who gets kidnapped early on by the villain. There we go. More scraps over the shoulder scraps here. Hey, PBG is here. Hey, Austin. He says that Danny gets cranky if she hasn't eaten as well. Yeah, I get hangry so easily. And so last night I was just like, I'm at my limit. I need to go eat my food. But I still streamed for like 2 hours. It was good. Oh, we're having another Peebs party now. Alright, so I got a little bit messy with my cuts on the mock-up earlier, but now I am going to be much more careful because this is my final piece and I want these curves to be as nice as I can make them. So I'm just going to be gentle and try to keep my blade completely upright and just take it slow. And also add just tons of water. Hey, thanks for more Dieth pics. That's awesome. We've got some even better pictures of Dieth here in the chat. My Supernova Sunshine is asking, what type of leather would you recommend for regular clothing? Like as opposed to smaller focal pieces of a costume, but rather more like the vest. So like garment leather is what you're asking about as far as I understand. So if you're new to using leather, I would recommend using some of the thinner or lighter leathers because they're cheaper. And so if you make a mistake, it's a little bit less terrifying. And then also they're thinner. So if you have a leather sewing needle, you should theoretically be able to stitch it on like a regular home sewing machine. You don't need like a fancy industrial machine or anything like that. The leathers that I would recommend to start with are like lambskin or pigskin. Are both a lot on the thinner side. Jedi Lightbearer, thank you for following. Welcome to the leather crafting stream today. So yes, leather, pigskin and or lambskin are really good options for doing thinner garments that are more flowy like fabric. So yeah, I would start there. You can buy larger hides of like plange, which is usually like a cow hide, but they are more expensive because they're much larger pieces. With a lamb, sometimes they're like 15, 20 bucks depending on where you go and what the leather looks like. But that's much, much cheaper and easier to get into. Within One Tiger is asking, do I have an industrial sewing machine? I've sewn leather and I've worked well with my regular machine, but I'm just curious since I've never been taught or had classes. I do now have an industrial sewing machine, but I didn't for a long time, and I was sewing leather on my regular domestic sewing machine. If you want to do it that way, you can, I recommend definitely getting a leather sewing needle because they have a different shape and they punch through the material a little bit harder than your standard machine needles. So definitely get a leather sewing needle. And then beyond that, you can get certain types of feet for your sewing machine that are going to help the leather to feed through a little bit more easily. So a walking foot is the ideal foot to use for thick materials, especially if they have like surfaces that have a lot of friction. So if you can get it, a walking machine, they are sometimes expensive or hard to find depending on what brand of sewing machine you're using, but they are the best type to use for leather. If you can't get one of those, then you could use like a Teflon foot, which is like a non-stick foot that's designed to glide over the surface of the material. So those are what I would recommend for starting out stitching leather. Get those items and some wonder clips. Get you some wonder clips. I'm going to show you guys the wonder clips really quickly. Yeah, I am giving a pretty in-depth answer. These are wonder clips. They are designed for sewing all kinds of material. It's just a tiny little spring clip, and they come in these boxes. You can get them in different sizes and colors. And this is so wonderful for sewing together any kinds of materials that are like you don't want to punch extra holes in, because when you're pinning something together, if you're pinning fabric together, you're creating extra holes with those pins. And with leather, you don't want that to happen. Sorry, I'm just reaching over to grab some leather scraps. Okay, this is something that I used for Jared's Dieth costume. But basically, this is, well, now it's 2 pieces of leather. And if I want to sew these together, lining them up along a seam here, if I try to put a pin through here, number one, it's going to be really difficult to do, and number two, it's going to create extra holes that are going to be in the leather forever, and you don't want that. So you can take your little clips here and clip your fabric together instead of pinning it, and then run it through the machine like that, and just remove the clips as you get to that point. And that is a wonderful, wonderful solution for working with leather, because it minimizes the distortion, and then it also prevents you from having extra holes. So there you go. Free advertisement for some wonder clips. No, that is not a sponsored. I wish I were sponsored by Wonder Clips. That would be wonderful. Huh. Didn't even do that on purpose. But yeah, wonder clips are a super, super useful. Even for using like vinyl or just thicker fabrics in general, wonder clips is good shit. Maddie Mouse says they're taking notes. I'm glad to hear it. That makes me happy. Yeah, I want this to be an educational kind of forum for you guys. So I'm glad that this is helpful, and that I'm hopefully answering questions that are going to allow you to do new things with your cosplay. That's my goal anyway. My phone is vibrating. Oh, that's okay. Alright, I feel like I'm kind of fighting, I'm going against my best interest by doing things in this direction, so I'm actually going to go back over here, continue cutting in this direction, because it's easier for me to cut in this, cut from this side and kind of in this direction. Travel Sum says they don't know the theme for today's drawing. That's fine. It doesn't need to be themed. You also don't have to do a drawing every time, although I appreciate them. I think they're very cute. So thank you. Alright, now I'm going to go in here and make sure that my corner is a clean cut, as much as I can manage anyway. So I'm just being really, really gentle as I move this blade so that I'm not at risk of cutting my fingers. It's just not quite cut all the way through. It's kind of the hazard of the really tight curves and corners. So I'm just really gently moving this blade so that I don't have any like sudden unexpected movements. Sparkle Live, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the leather crafting stream today. You're cutting leather out for a breastplate. Oh, so close. It's just like this very, very corner has this, just a little bit of the fiber, it's still attached. I'm trying to be as careful as I possibly can so that I don't get any stray cuts. And I think we just did it. Oh, almost. There we go. Now this is free. Yay. Leather cutting hype. Oh, Ice Princess, I'm so happy that this is inspiring you to get your workshop up and going. Good luck with all of that. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Yoshi Murphy, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the leather crafting stream. Nizhoni is asking, so unrelated to leather, but I have a slight fear of wigs because I have very long, like past my hips, and thick dark hair. I can never get them to sit on my head right where I feel like they look right. Is there a way to circumvent that? So I assume you're talking about like your real hair is so thick that it is making your head large with the wig on it. I think that's the issue that you're describing. There are like ways that you can braid your hair up in a way that's like really tight and kind of compact, but I don't know exactly what you look like or exactly what your hair is like, and so I don't know exactly how to address that. I would say look up wig tutorials for how to braid thick hair under a wig, and you'll probably hear from girls who have much more hair than I do, and maybe you'll hear from girls or guys, I'm just making generalizations, or, you know, non-binary people. People in general who have lots of hair, and maybe as much hair as you do. So I recommend asking someone, or going to look specifically for a tutorial that is aimed at that subject. But what I do personally is I create 2 French braids and then have them pinned down to my head, just as tight as I can get. And you can also wear 2 wig caps if you're having trouble like with it being tight enough. Adding a second wig cap can like kind of help condense it a little bit. So start there, do some searches for tutorials, and hopefully you won't have any problems getting that wig onto your head. Frozen Blaze has followed. Thank you so much. Welcome. Metal Jenny is working on her Garnet cosplay. Oh, I love Final Fantasy IX. And thank you for the compliment from my work. Good luck with yours. That sounds awesome. I'd love to see your costume when you're done. Yeah, Garnet is, I think, my favorite Final Fantasy lady. Although I don't know if I would cosplay her just because I'm not sure that she's really my style. Like, I don't know that I would be able to pull her off really well, but I love seeing really nicely done Garnet cosplays, or just any in general, because Garnet's amazing. Carla Driver is saying rose gold blades. In reference to what? I like rose gold and I like blades, but I'm not sure where that all comes together. Tiffy the Squirrel. Well, hopefully some of these resources give you, you know, an idea of how you can get into leatherwork. It is a little bit of an investment to get started, but with a couple of tools, you can still do some really cool things, just depending on what your goals are. So yeah, I hope that this can, at the very least, demystify the process for you and make it a little bit less intimidating to get started. Oh, thanks, Metal Jenny. Mandolin's saying that she's always wanted to do a Beatrix costume from Final Fantasy IX. I also love Beatrix, and I have had that one suggested / requested to me. Gummy Ho, that's good. Gummy Ho 24, thank you for following, as well as Crazy Red Bard, thank you for following. I would love to do Beatrix, and I would love to see Beatrix cosplayed more, because Beatrix is amazing and beautiful and super badass. But I don't really have the boobs to do Beatrix. She has quite a bit of cleavage, and I do not. which, you know, you can fake it in certain instances, but hers is pretty out there. I don't know if I could fake that one without like a drag queen breastplate, but oh well, that's fine. I have so many other costumes lined up. I'll leave that one for you. I'm sure you'll do a really great job of it. Everyone's talking about their dream cosplays now here in the chat. Ash's wedding dress is also a very beautiful design from Final Fantasy XII. Ash is someone I've considered cosplaying, and I added her onto the last poll that I did, but Celica was the clear winner, and unfortunately Ash was the least popular item on that list. But that's okay. It's not always a popularity contest, and you know, I like the design, so maybe someday I'll tackle it. I'm just not going to make it a priority right now. Alright, we're getting close to the last cuts. I'm going kind of slow with this because I want to do this as precisely as I possibly can. But we're getting there. We're almost done with this last piece. Love Baker's Cookie says that seeing me stream makes her want to step up their cosplay game. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that that's, you know, helpful for you. It's cool to see that, you know, that people are inspired to be creative by coming to creative streams. That's also something I do. I like to watch a lot of creative streams. So I'm glad I got started into it, and I'm glad that we're spreading the love of cosplay to anybody who wants to get involved. So yes, please, all of you cosplay. I'm going to peer pressure everyone in the chat who's listening to make costumes for themselves because it's so much fun. Alright, we're getting there. This is slowly but surely cutting. Ooh, gotta make sure I go slow. Slow on these curves. And still with the just ridiculous amounts of water. I'm just gonna squeeze this sponge out, let it soak in. You Love Lucy says that they're gonna redo her Lin Beifong costume. I love that costume. I thought you did a great job of it already. I think you're one of the best ones I've ever seen, but yeah, I definitely understand the urge to keep remaking things, because once you build it, no matter how good it is, you immediately like look at it and think, well, this could be better or that, and that's just kind of a natural part of being an artist. But I love your Lin costume. I would also still love to see you make more Lin costumes or whatever, so let's just all cosplay Lin Beifong together. Let Your Heart Fly 85. Please do make a Asagao Academy normal boots jacket. I would love to see more people making those jackets. And as I'm sure you already know, I have the tutorial on my website already. Crazy Red Bard is asking, do I have any recommended guides or info for someone who's interested in getting into cosplay? Why, yes, I do. Not so much the... Well, I have answered that specific question in a video, like Q&A session that I did. But if you go to my website, which is brand new, atelierheidi.com, that has an entire tutorial section that covers a lot of different topics in cosplay and can walk you through a number of different projects. So I would recommend starting there. Also, there's a link on my website to my Tumblr where I answer questions about cosplay. So you can go there and have me answer more specific questions. And I kind of just answer here and there where I can. I don't answer every single question that comes my way just because it would be completely exhausting and impractical. But I do my best to answer the ones that I can. So I would recommend you reading the Ask Heidi tag on my Tumblr, and or reading the tutorials that are on my website and on my Tumblr. And hopefully that can give you some ideas of where you might want to get started when you're working on your own costumes. Alright, we're almost there. I'm almost finished cutting these lines. I've got to be really careful with connecting them and make sure that I'm not like splitting the line there, but I think we're doing okay. Free Talk 3. Free Talk 3. Thank you so much for the follow. Midnight Mythos a minute ago also followed. I'm sorry I like read that out of the corner of my eye and kept talking about other things. But thank you so much for your follow. Welcome to the leather crafting stream where Heidi multitasks a lot. Alright. You guys, we got it. Wow, look at how much water has soaked through to the other side. That is okay. Alright, this is my titty window in the flesh, literally, because it's made out of flesh. Sorry guys. But here is the booby window, which I might as well just flash you guys. I'm gonna put it on Miss Titties over here. Titty window hype, let's hear it in the chat. But here we go. That is how that is supposed to look. We've got a tit window. We've got 4 different pieces here that are going to become the boobs. I know this is not not a wonderful representation, but you can compare it to the mock-up here, and that is where we're going to end up, hopefully. Moving along into the future streams. So yeah, this is actually great. I think this is... I don't know, it is about 6:30 where I am. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to go have dinner before I keep working on anything. But I feel like I've got a lot of really good momentum going today on this stream. Now that we've got our leather cut, this is really starting to come together and become something that we can visualize. I'm gonna get this extra piece out of the shot. But here we have booby armor, and it all looks like booby armor. So yay, we're getting there. That's exciting. Whale Facts has followed. Thank you, Whale Facts. If you have any whale facts for us, feel free to put those in the chat. I'd love to hear more about whales. Alright, I think that I am gonna at least end the stream for now and go find some food for myself. I don't know if I'm gonna keep streaming tonight. I feel like I could keep streaming, but I really want to eat. And on top of that, it might be nice to just kind of chill out and do something else for a while. So yeah, I'm not gonna promise to keep streaming tonight. I'm not gonna be streaming tomorrow because I think Jared's doing a thing. But I will be streaming on Saturday, so I'm going to go ahead and pick this up on Saturday. That'll be my plan. So we'll leave off for here for tonight. I think we've made a lot of really good progress. This is starting to look like a thing. And yeah, on Saturday we'll keep making this breastplate and start putting it together in the leather. So thank you all so much for coming. Kaiba Corpse, thanks for the follow. And everyone here in the chat, thank you so much for interacting and showing up and asking your questions. It's been a really great afternoon hanging out with you all, and I'm happy that we've made all this progress and had a good time. So, oh nice, got some packages. All right, well I'm heading out. Have a good night / day wherever you are, and see you on Saturday, I hope. Bye guys!